How's it going, everybody? Jack's Journalism back again with another video. I know it's been quite a while since my last one, but I had some reservations on how I wanted to approach the promotion tournament and ended up just skipping it completely. I had a lot going on with work, ended up getting sick for like a long time, like a week, but there's a lot of important stuff to talk about today in the challenger scene, so I definitely want to go over it. And basically, it's just going to be roster changes among three challenger teams. Those teams are Curse Academy, Team Coast, and Team LoLPro. And I'll go ahead and start with Curse Academy, and what I'll do is talk about the players they had before, as well as the players coming in, and what difference these changes are going to make to the team. So we've got Chris and Impactful that were on Curse Academy that are getting replaced. Chris in the top lane was definitely a more aggressive player. I've likened him to West Rice in the past for one of those players that plays very aggressive, and when it works out for him, he looks like a solo lane god, and when it doesn't work out for him, it looks like he's throwing the game for his team, which he is in a lot of scenarios. Chris was one of those players that just pushed forward, forward, forward. And he did, once again, with the West Rice comparison, he changed his game up towards the end of his time on Curse Academy. You saw him playing the Dr. Mundo to great effect. Basically, he kind of took away from that aggressive laning style and started playing more for his team. And that's just part of the meta. That's what a lot of top laners have to do. And Chris is not a fantastic player for doing that. He's just playing the game how it's supposed to be played right now. And I think that transition that he was making was good. But there's also the option of bringing in Hanser, the new player, from Team LoLPro, that is a better alternative than watching Chris, change that style of play, because Hanser already plays this style. I don't know if you watch that many LoLPro games, but Hanser is a player. He very much plays in meta. He's mechanically sound, and I don't see bad teleports from him very often, so he plays the map well. Hanser, the thing about him is he plays to the level of his competition, very much so. So when he's playing against a lesser top laner, he doesn't look like an all-star, which is, part of the reason why not many people are probably going to know his name. He doesn't look like this all-star that crushes people. But at the same time, you pit him against somebody that he should not win against, and you're like, this guy's a CS lead. What's going on here? And that's just Hanser for you. He plays very well in lane, and he plays very well for the team. He's already under the Curse organization as a member of Team LoLPro, so that transition was, very fluid, very natural, and Hanser, I think, is going to be a good fit for the team. Now, in the AD carry position, we've got Impactful, who did not impress at the promotion tournament. I've praised him before, and I will continue to do so if he remains in the challenger scene for his positioning during team fights and his decision-making. His mid-game AD carry play, I thought, was very good. He definitely played well around his team and was a staple in their fights. But his weak laning started to become more and more of an issue, especially when you look at that promotion tournament match against CLG. And Impactful, I think, is an AD carry with a lot of potential, and I do think that he's a good player. But Curse Academy basically had the option of having Cop from the main Team Curse roster. And Cop has, A, always been consistent, and B, been getting a lot better recently. And it seems like we say this about Cop every single split. Like, people just forget, they have deja vu, where it's like, oh, Cop is this passive carry, but he's consistent. Then at the end of the split, they're like, oh, Cop's getting so much better. He's getting, he's flashing aggressively. He's turning into this player that can actually carry. And it's literally the same thing happens. Like, he's playing with elements, like he's being held back. Oh, he's playing with Edward, and Edward's going to turn him into this cool, aggressive carry. And then it's like, oh, he's playing with Bunny Fufu, who's got this raw skill and this awesome thresh. Maybe we're going to see Cop step into this aggressive role. And then now he's playing with Xpecial. Like, Xpecial's going to train him to be this aggressive AD carry. People don't realize, I think Cop is a player that just plays in stages. And what Curse said, well, what Xpecial said, I should say, is that Cop did have a tendency to slack off. And I think that passive Cop and aggressive Cop are just basically Cop either slacking off or putting in the hard work. Now, at the end of the day, Cop is a consistent carry that can go above and beyond. His synergy with Bunny Fufu is already proven. And, Bunny Fufu being an up-and-coming, really good support, mixed with Cop, who is definitely on fire right now, and these players have already played before. That's, great chemistry. That is a great equation for success for Curse Academy. Overall, the changes to Curse Academy, what this brings is it changes Curse Academy from a do or die kind of team to a very consistent team, because Chris was do or die in the top lane. It's either go aggressive, get a lane lead, be a top lane carry, or fall behind. With Impactful, it was this guy's either going to go off and be like 5-0 on Tristana, or he's going to have 150 CS at like 27 minutes or 30 minutes or something like that. So the consistency that you bring in with Haunter and Cop basically makes it so that Haunter is going to do well or win it or go even in his lane. You know that Keen, for the most part, is going to do well in lane. We have seen Keen fall behind while pressured. But then you have Cop in the bot lane with Bunny Fufu. They're going to do well in lane most of the time. So that leaves Saint Vicious with his pick of the litter. He's not trying to compensate for a feeding top lane by getting mid ahead or getting bot ahead. He's not trying to compensate for like a weak bot lane by making plays on top side of the map. Right now, what you're doing is you're giving Curse Academy really solid lanes where Saint Vicious gets to choose where and when he wants to make his map movements with very little detractors on the other side of the map. So Curse Academy overall, I think, got so much stronger during this roster change. They're going to be one of the biggest teams to look out for in the expansion tournament. Now, moving on to Team Coast, we've got that whole drama with Team Coast replacing Golden Glue and Rux with Miracle and Ringer. That was an awful decision. We've already went over that. Their PR release was awful too. Now they released a new PR statement today talking about Laud from Team LoLPro and Chris from Curse Academy joining Team Coast as solo laners. And this, I think, was handled much better. I think these are much better pickups for Team Coast. This is the direction they want to move in. Because think about what happened with Team Coast the first time. You had Golden Glue, who wasn't particularly strong in the mid lane. I mean, he's not a bad player, but Laud is head and shoulders. I've talked about him before. The explosive guy that's going to crush lane, that's going to carry the team single-handedly when he has to. You have the top lane. You had a player in Rux who never really did great, sometimes did awfully, but he couldn't transition leads into power plays. That was not something Rux could do. Whereas Chris, I talked about him being a do or die player. Sometimes he's going to do terribly in lane, but with Coast having Chris in the top lane, at least if he has an advantage, which he can get in many games because he is a mechanically good player, he's going to be able to transition that lead. And so what Coast has right now are a very explosive mid laner in Laud, a so-so but can be explosive top laner in Chris, and they've got Sheep and Mashme in the bot lane who can really go off if you give Mashme a hyper carry. So you've got a lot of carry potential with Team Coast, although a little less consistency than something that we'd see in Curse Academy. But that's okay, because I think that this works with Team Coast. I think Team Coast is going to be one of the most fun teams to watch in the Challenger scene now. And I think that the damage that was done by bringing in Miracle and Ringer, I think is going to be repaired rather efficiently with these two roster changes. I don't even want to talk about Miracle and Ringer because they just played one awful promotion series. There's really nothing to talk about with them, which leaves us on our last team, which is Team LoLPro, who we don't really have a lot to talk about, but as you'll notice, Haunter from the top lane of Team LoLPro went to Curse Academy, and then Laud from the mid lane of Team LoLPro went to Coast. So Team Curse, well, Curse as an organization, I should say, has already stated that with Team LoLPro, they're basically rebuilding that with a young squad, which I think that's good. I think that Liquid from Curse, the organization, has one of the best heads on his shoulders in esports because he has 3 teams and everybody has constantly asked the question, what's the point? Like, why do you want challenger teams, especially when they don't even really talk to each other or anything? He's fostered growth of these players, and these players have then gone on to see LCS glory, or they're stepping into the position to be able to do so now. I think Curse has a really good infrastructure for their players right now, and that is exactly what we need in the challenger scene. We need people like Liquid that are willing to have 3 teams, are willing to make the roster changes that they think are necessary, while also providing players basically external platforms for them to transition to, instead of just saying, bye, you're out of the scene now until somebody else picks you up. So overall, good things in the challenger scene right now. Really excited to see how these teams show up in the expansion tournament. I'll definitely be making a video about that as it gets closer. Right now, I've been all sucked into Worlds, losing all kinds of sleep watching these games, but it's totally worth it. Sorry about the long wait in between videos, but I don't think I'm going to be doing like a regular update thing. I'm more going to be talking about things that I think need clarified, things that people might not know about, or just generally important things pertaining to the challenger scene. So once again, thanks guys. Subscribe to the channel if you like it. Like the video if you like it. Hit me up on Twitter. Hit me up in the comments. Suggestions, comments, questions, anything like that. So I'll see you next time.